welcome back to the channel. My name is Lena and today we are going to talk about how exactly to calculate your net worth. What are all the details that you need to do to figure it out and make it not so confusing. We are going to talk nitty-gritty details of how you figure that out and what it tells you or doesn't tell you. I hear a lot of talk about net worth that can be confusing. They're always talking about assets and liabilities, and those aren't normally words that we use in our common day-to-day life, and so I feel like it can be confusing to a lot of people. The basic idea is that you're writing down the value of the things that you own, you're subtracting the amount of money that you owe, and that will give you your net worth. So get out a random piece of paper, it doesn't need to be fancy, and let's get down to business. I think you should do one item at a time, so you'd have your house or your car or other things that you owned on different lines. For each item, you need to figure out how much is it worth, how much could you sell it for, and then also how much money do you owe on that. For example, perhaps you own a house. The value of your house changes quite often. At least this year, the value of our house has changed a lot. So this means we're just guessing because we don't actually know what our house would sell for if we chose to sell it. We just go on Zillow, we look up our property, and it has a Zestimate. So it's a guess of what they think your house is worth. I'm sure that it is not 100% accurate, but this is me guessing. It's close, they're guessing, I'm guessing. It's probably in the ballpark of what the house is worth. So we normally just go off that. Then you need to figure out how much of your mortgage is left on your house, and you may have to go online to figure this out. It should say remaining balance due or something like that. And then you are subtracting. So you're taking the amount of your mortgage and you're subtracting it from your Zestimate. This gives you the amount of equity that is in your house. Okay, so you figured out how much your house is adding to your net worth. If you have rental properties or Airbnbs or something, you would repeat the process with each home that you own. So other things that might be adding to your net worth could be your vehicles. So you can look on Kelley Blue Book and get an estimate for how much you could sell your vehicle for. So you put in all the specifications of your car and the make and model, and then it spits out a number about how much they think you could sell your car for. We normally pick that mid-range number to not go too crazy because they have like the lower end and then they have the upper end. And the upper end is probably a little bit optimistic. So say it says that you could sell your car for $8 grand and you have a $4,000 loan still left on that car. That means the amount of equity that you have in that car, or the amount that is adding to your net worth, would be a $4 grand. So you can write that down too. Then you need to do this for each subsequent car that you own. Then your investment accounts add to your net worth. So your Roth IRAs, your 401ks, and those are only positive net worths, which is awesome because you normally don't have any loans on those. So those are a little bit simpler to figure out. So you just write down how much is in that account and that adds to your net worth. If you have any credit card debt or student loans, those go in the minus category. So definitely write those down too. So perhaps it's minus 15 grand on the student loans, minus 5 grand on the credit card. Okay, so now you've gotten the big things out of the way. So now it's kind of a random things that you may own that are of value. So I own a violin and it's worth something, and we do have insurance on it. So it's insured for a certain amount of money. So we count that as part of our net worth. My husband has tools for his job that he bought himself, and that has quite a bit of worth also, so that goes into our net worth. And because we wanted to add to our net worth, we also included what we think we could sell all our furniture for, or what the value of that would be. So look around your house, see what might be of value, what you could sell it for realistically, and then you can add that to your net worth. Once you add up all your numbers, including your positives and your negatives, then that number is your net worth. So people often do this on a regular basis, either like once a month or once a year or every half year or so often, so they can track their net worth progress. And I see a lot of YouTubers do this, and it's really fun to watch some YouTubers like Our Rich Journey. They do a net worth update, and it's fun to see how things change with that. and it's definitely interesting to watch how things evolve over time. And then you can also see, oh, we increased our net worth by 100 grand this year or something. And it can be really astonishing and really cool to see that progress. What does your net worth really mean about you and your financial situation? Well, I'm not sure that it means quite as much as you would think. I feel like it is fun to know and it's fun to watch the number go up, but that doesn't mean that you could use or access this money easily. How usable and how safe is my money? For example, if you have equity in your house, what would it take for you to be able to access that money? So you could take out a second mortgage on your house to access that equity, and that is a long, complicated, expensive process. Or you could sell the house to be able to use that money. But that doesn't mean I can just walk down to the house and pull the 60 grand of equity out of the house right now, which means that money is not liquid or it's not usable right now. So it's adding to my net worth technically, but it's not really doing me any good. So I think a really relevant question to ask yourself could be, how long could I survive without being paid? So I think there's lots of people that have, over $1 million of net worth or whatever, but because they have so many payments on everything and their payments are so large, the amount of time that they could actually survive without having to sell something big if they stopped getting paid or if they stopped working is actually not very long at all. So technically a person that made less than 100 grand a year could be in a better financial spot than someone who made $1 million a year because they could survive without income for longer. So if you don't have very many liabilities or monthly costs that you have to cover, like perhaps you own all your cars outright, you have a small payment on your house, and you know how to live modestly, you could survive on not very much money for a long, long time. But if you have a $40,000 a month mortgage on your $10 million house, you don't have a lot of money that you could easily access to pay those expenses. You are not going to be able to survive for very long without a paycheck, which means the person making $1 million a year, they actually really have to go to work and they really have to make that money if they're going to keep up their lifestyle. So some of the other assets that you might own would be retirement accounts, and those are not necessarily particularly liquid either. So they wouldn't necessarily help you survive without a paycheck for very long either. So that's always another interesting thing to think about. So if you have investments that can be accessed at any time without penalty, how long could you live off those investments? And the ideal answer is indefinitely, and that is what we call financial freedom. So if your investments make enough money so that you never have to work again, or you could survive indefinitely without going to work again, then that is called financial freedom. And that would really be the ideal answer. So that would mean a lot more than, oh, I have a high net worth. It would be like, I am financially free. So it would mean a lot more to say, I am financially free than to say, I have a really high net worth. Because as you can see, having a high net worth doesn't necessarily mean you have money ready and available for use. I hope this video was useful and gave you a few things to think about. Drop your comments about net worth below. Give this video a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any uploads. Thanks for watching. Can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye for now.